Welcome everybody to another episode of This Week in X, presented by Crushing Comics. I'm your host, Crisis with a K, and I'm here with three of my favorite friends and colleagues and mutant lovers from around the world, Tyler, Harry, and Fariha. And we are here to talk about Sword number 2, out this week on the 13th of January, 2021. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about everything in this issue, everything in the other X-Men issue out this week, everything. We're just going to talk about everything. So it's a spoiler-filled program, and you have been warned. To kick us off in this issue, I want to do the lightning round from the gut go round on Sword number 2. We'll go around the clock, starting with Tyler.
I'm a little bit annoyed that this is a tie-in issue for a Marvel event that I don't even care for. And this is only issue 2 of a new title. And that, I don't care. But, that said, I mean, I do enjoy this issue. Like, it continues with some of the character beats from last issue and addresses something which I think is very important, but has not been taken care of in Dawn and in the rest of the titles. So, and the art is really good.
All right, Harry.
Yeah, this issue's annoying. It's kind of odd because I love the team. I love everything about this book, but what all that craft is in service to is, to me, maybe the most shallow event I've seen in a while, where we had this first issue full of promise and excitement and what are we going to do? And then this issue is really about space goo dragons and how do they all respond to that? And it's not bad. It's like a perfectly fine issue, but it's so annoying and frustrating. And it's kind of sad after I was so high on the first issue.
Fariha.
Hated it.
Hated it.
I was like, same, like, imagine, like, Peter's hatred toward Jonathan Hickman and then transfer it over to me, and then my hatred, like, it was just like a deep-sated hatred. Like, no, I'm putting my foot down. No, I'm just, no. Anyway.
Wow. So it looks like we don't have any strong positives here. And of course, I don't have one to add either. If we think back to my reaction to the first issue, I was like, okay, great, a mutant machine. Lots of continuity nods, but what is the story here? Why are we Sword? Why do we care? What are we doing here in space? And I kind of was hoping that this issue was going to like take us there, right? Like I was really hoping Fariha was going to come and be like, this is cool. It's all about engineering. Let's talk about problem solving, but it wasn't that at all. So that was a little disappointing. I do think Ewing is a veteran of having to have his little selling series intersect with events, and it's actually frequently turned out well in the past. So if it had to be anybody to tie into King in Black, I'm happy it was Ewing and not somebody else, because I think he's going to make the best of it. And I think he does a good job of contextualizing, like, are mutants that worried about dragons from space overall? Is it more the threat that it potentially poses to the survivability of the mutant race? And do we need a plan B or a plan V, as the case might be, when the whole mutant race seems to be endangered? So that's kind of what pulled it out of the fire for me at the last moment. Yep. I was about to like leave this issue just with a heavy sigh and an eye roll. And then we got to the end. I'm like, okay, Ewing found the angle. There's still a way to make this great. But where's the teleporting and stealing stuff? That's what I want to know. So, okay, so let's get into this, and I guess let's just dig a little bit more into this King of Black, so much as we have anything to say about it. It's a Donny Cates thing. It's based in Venom. The original guy who originally made all the symbiotes got awakened, and he's in space, and there's dragons, and he's on Earth, and so there's a liquid latex candy shell around the Earth. Not unlike what happened in Secret Empire and every other possible event, because it's the only thing any author can think of to put the Earth in danger.
It's the same thing again. And
address your letters to Donny Cates.
There's less to it now. I'm just reading it. I'm like, is it really just goo dragons and people getting taken over by symbiotes? Is that the whole thing? I don't want to get into King in Black that much.
No,
I haven't read any of it, actually.
Can I just interject for 1 second? Okay, look at what happened to us as humanity over the last year. We just had this little incident and it drove us insane. Now imagine living in the Marvel universe.
Guns crazy.
And then how often sun is taken away from you. Like, and it just, like, I feel bad bad for them. But to be honest, though, I mean, allow me to just go on a 1 minute tyrant. Someone, you know, I am very, so the thing is, this is supposed to be sword number 1. Like, you know, last sword was sword number 1, and this is supposed to be sword number 2.
Yeah.
No, but it's a new series. What is the point of having a new series if you're not going to introduce anyone? And if you're going to be like, oh my God, deep cuts for all those old-timey X-Men reader. I don't know any of these stupid characters. I don't care for any of them. There was no introduction to any of them other than Abigail Brand, who, because I read the Blue Muffin 5-issue miniseries 1 by Gillen, that's how I know her. And then, so I was like, maybe they're going to be introduced. And then there is no introduction. There's like all these data pages that she's writing and how much she hates everyone. What is this? I mean, I was just sick and tired. I was sick and tired of X Factor, but then you know what? I went and read other books. I'm like, okay, fine. Now I know who these nobodies are. And then I'm like, where do I even go? I mean, I hated it. I'm so sick and tired of all this deep cut nonsense. If an issue is supposed to be standalone on its own, then a series needs to be standalone without having to read like 100 different issues beforehand. There you go. Thank you for coming for his tired rant corner. I'm gonna shut up for the rest of the episode.
Just walks off. Goes
I mean, I think you've got a good point that, you know, Ewing loves to play this game of picking a lot of random people and kind of giving them their due. But in this case, you know, we've seen him do it on US Avengers and his new Avengers. We've seen it do it on his Mighty Avengers. In a way, he kind of did it on Ultimates, although most of those characters we knew. But he tends to pick people that are a lot more modern and that are a lot more fully formed. And the group of people that he's picked here, people like Mentallo, who, I mean, even as a mega X-Men fan, my pool of knowledge on Mentallo is shallow. Yeah. Wiz Kid, Cortez, these are people that it's even hard to have like an opinion on. And so it's contingent upon him to really give us a version of them to react to in this book. And it just doesn't feel like there's a lot about them to react to. I think Ewing's a great writer, but like, to Fariha's point, if you're gonna do the deep cut thing, which can be fun, and there are a couple of deep cuts here, which I love, which we'll get to, but you also have to make sure that you are inserting some kind of personality. And it takes me back to when I was talking to some people on Twitter about when does it work when you bring kind of a villainous person who's done horrible things back and make us like them. And one of the great things that Carrie did with Frenzy is he brought Frenzy back, and he started out by her being like, yeah, I was awful. And then and people should hate me. And then he recontextualized her by how he wrote her, and he made Frenzy lovable. And I think Ewing just needs to do that. Like, give us something in the actual issue to react to about these characters. And I just don't think showing us Mentallo on the toilet is like taking me there. I'm not getting the fantasy right now. I don't know.
Not only that, but having this useless character that nobody knows, what is that telling us how much the Quiet Council care about the space program? Like, they don't care. They're going to send this nobodies and they not care. I'm sorry. Just bleep me. It's caring about like stupid election. He should be sent to space, because send someone who actually matters. Send them to space. But no, I mean, you know, Magneto just moved the thing and he's back. But you know, we're just gonna send this nobodies to space. And hey, look at that, our space program. Ugh.
All right, Harry, you are our designated sword lover. Can you talk us down from this ledge a little bit?
I don't know. I kind of like that it was not someone that is that important, because it kind of shows that they are more independent from the mutants. It is kind of more of a hybrid of like Brand's got her own priorities than just kind of taking keys from the council. I kind of know Mentallo. He was in Secret Avengers for a hot minute, written by, I think, Nick Spencer. It's been a while, but so I didn't know who it was, but I was like, oh, this guy. But I'll be honest, the joke at the end with the thing that he wanted was very funny. I laughed out loud. The invention that he was hoping for.
Well,
I don't know.
Know what, because I think he had this this vehicle that he used to have, right? So he was so he's like, I want that back. I mean, to protect my soft skeletons.
I mean, I think you guys have a great point that, like, yeah, we're just in go mode with these obscure characters. We don't have time to like connect with many of them. But I'm more annoyed at the fact that it's the tie-in stuff, that we have so much time we gotta spend towards space dragons.
And I thought that was the problem. The problem wasn't Ewing's writing. The problem was Ewing's had to do this priorities in issue 2 of his run. Run. He introduced the characters last issue, and he should be allowed, at least 2, 3, 4 issues to develop them before they push him, or before the title gets tied into any events. So I don't understand. Maybe it's because of the timing. Maybe because this was supposed to come out, during COVID, in before that break and before they expanded the Ten of Swords crossover. So that there is some timing issues here that is a problem, but I do enjoy the deep cards. So
well, Drew, I want to say real quick,
I know you do.
The first page of this book is super disorienting. I don't know about y'all, but they have Cable, who's been venomized or nullified or whatever.
Yeah, we haven't read that crossover before.
Yeah. No, yeah, and like they have one page. They didn't even show him, and like and it's disorienting because wasn't he drawn differently in the other ish books? So that's a huge error there. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I don't know. It really started this off on a bad note for me.
I mean, it jumped into the middle of the event, and the next page has a recap that suggested that some other things has happened off panel or maybe in some other issues. And yeah, I mean, it is very disorienting because I was like, okay, wait, since when the X-Men and the Quiet Council gave warning about the threat, and to who did they give the warning to? Because that was like in the recap. So so that part was like a little bit weird for me.
Well, now that we've thoroughly eviscerated the issue, I do want to talk about a couple of the moments which maybe were a little bit more charming inside of it. So one of them is this kind of fun Sunfire moment. Sunfire tends to be a little bit overutilized. He originally, gets tossed by this dragon, and Cortez reheats him like a microwave dinner. And we get, for Fariha's benefit possibly, kind of an explanation of Cortez that he can amplify people's powers, but it tends to be a little bit addictive. And it's not always a good thing, right? Because Harry didn't know that when we talked about Sword One either. And he's kind of like, don't worry, I've worked on it. But he really comes across as like a little bit of a drug dealer here, which I think is in perfect keeping with Cortez's rich history as Magneto's dealer back in the Jim Lee era. So, any thoughts on Sunfire's, heroic moment becoming our local sun, and any thoughts on Cortez, the mutant booster? And then we'll get into Brand's distrust of him in just a moment. No. How are you seem like you have things to say?
No, it's great. No, this part's really good. I think Cortez is like a lot of fun. I've just been introduced to this character. He's just like the level of smarm like in this person's face at all times is super fun. And like the way he charges up Shiro, like Shiro looks awful flying away. He looks like a mummified zombie.
Yeah, and like it's kind of scary. He almost looks like
it is. It's unsettling, and just like he's so full of himself, and he's got all these ideas, and even Brand's like, this guy's a problem. We got to figure this out. Like I am like all in on this shady character. That was all good for me.
I did get who Sunfire was though. I'll tell you. So yeah, that was a
because of the reread.
Oh yeah, that guy who just left like X Mansion after one mission.
Yeah, Free's got her grudge still from Giant Size.
He left and then come back and then left again. Yeah, right. We did the same issue.
We did the same issue. I'm like, yeah, that guy. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing also is that there is some relationship between or not relationship, there's some history between him and Frenzy, and Frenzy was like shown here saying that, oh no, history is repeating itself.
Well, and to that point, Cortez has one win, and he's right back to Magneto, like, "How you like me now?" and Magneto says, like, "Yes, I remember you." And Cortez is like, "Great, we've got to talk about the flat scans." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But it kind of shows you he can't. His stupidity can't be contained. Like you need one moment.
I kind of like the data pages in this with Brand talking about like she's relying on people who are not reliable, like Mentallo and this guy. It kind of keeps in theme with Brand just making the most of what she has, and it's not usually the best, but she's going to figure it out. And I thought that was all cool.
But is she doing it on purpose? Because I feel like there is a purpose to her. I mean, there is a method to her madness, because I think she's doing this because she's not 100% in line with the Quiet Council.
I agree.
100%.
I mean,
so she has her own agenda.
with your engineer brain, and we've had some problems, some qualms with the Quiet Council's approach, would you be a Brand in this situation and be like, I'll take the cast-offs, I'll take the rejects, because I still am going to have better contingency plans than you empty, D-bags?
Well, depending on because this is a space program, right?
Right.
So much things can go wrong. And it's like, it's supposed to be something that, something that shows mutant powers or the mutant dome to the rest of the world. Why would you staff it with useless people? Wouldn't you want to show off your best in there? So Cable was there, and that was kind of cool. Magneto moved the thing. That was also kind of cool. Then we're left with this nobodies, and then she hates all of them. I also didn't like that. I'm like, girl, really? Like, there's 2 data pages of her giving explanation, and then both of them were really hateful. Like, she did not care for either of them. I wish there was a balance of that. Like, okay, I don't like this 3, but I like this 3.
Yeah, we kind of needed her saying like, WizKid's so great. Like, even though WizKid did get a moment of competency,
well,
too,
really. She did.
Oh, yeah, cool moment.
Like, because she's like, well, WizKid is occupied. WizKid has things to do. She's like
blowing up dragons. Pretty good.
But he doesn't. He can be autonomous because he's not a dummy like the rest of you.
But that's what I'm saying. I wish the one data page was about someone she hated, and the next one was about WizKid, about how she's like liking them. So we get like, okay, there is a balance and there is a method to her madness. As it stands right now, it's like, I'm going to staff it with some mad people, and then I'm going to see how this goes. And I don't know. I mean, and to be honest, I think like it's just like having this whole crossover, like tie-in really pissed me off.
No, I think that's the problem.
Really out.
That's a huge problem. It's really...
But, I mean, like, again, I'm defending the fact that like it doesn't have to be, because I think it's really difficult to show on panel that Brand has to tolerate these two, because it goes deeper than what a simple word balloon or thought balloon could do. Whereas she trusted Frenzy implicitly, because Frenzy brought Screw, the I can't remember his name, it's like Pel something, Pelber or something like that.
The Skrull.
Yeah, like the Skrull to Krakoa, and she's like, okay, I trust you because you said you are going to be in charge of him. And then and then when Kotex questioned about WizKid, or no, not Kotex, Mantello questioned about WizKid, and she's like, WizKid has problems that he can take care of, and he is taking care of those problems. So it's easier to show that she has competent people on her side through just like one word balloon. But it's very difficult to say, to explain why she has Mantello or she has Cortex on the team, because, it goes a little bit deeper than that. So, I mean, I feel like it's pretty even here.
My read on Brand has always been that she's just perpetually stressed and grumpy. Like, she's just not having a great, whatever day you catch her, she's not having a great day. So like, I don't feel like she's the kind of person to be like, hey, good job, Slugger, like at work, she's like, you should do a good job because that's what I hired you to do. But like, that's like her level. She's just kind of like a hard ass, which is, I think, is super fun.
I really like that, that's why I really like the miniseries where she's just go, always on the run. Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that we will get something like that, but then we got bogged down by these characters that I don't know and I'm supposed to know. And that bothers me, that I don't know this character, but the way it's being treated, that as if I'm supposed to know, that always bothers me. Like, it bothers me in X Factor, it bothers me here as well. Like, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot of deep cuts here. So
yeah, and then and I don't know, maybe if the movie didn't have Cyclops and all that, well, no, Cyclops will always bother me. Anyway, I don't even know what I was saying.
So Freya mentioned the deep cuts. I would be remiss if I didn't draw attention to one, only because I was actually thinking about it last week. I'm up to X Factor in my personal X-Men reread, and in the first few issues of X Factor, there's somebody who's a junkie who can accelerate mutant powers, and he's part of Apocalypse's original plan. He's there with Frenzy, actually. His name is Michael Nolan, and they wind up, he dies, his wife dies. It's a whole scene and X Factor kind of fails. And I found myself thinking, he would be a useful person to resurrect. He can like supercharge people's powers. Sure enough, Al Ewing, no stone left unturned here in the second database. Michael Nolan, no mutant name given. Unlike Cortez, Nolan is unable to control the addictive nature of his power amplification. Also, he has no interest in playing game because they can't revive his dead human wife. And then I also had to look up Boost, who actually has made a grand total of 2 appearances in the entire history of X-Men. Boost began in an annual Uncanny X-Men annual 1997. So Ewing, these are deep cuts. I mean, the people on this day, Mr. M, you maybe should know about, but these other 2 are people that literally made 1 appearance, and the appearance was over 20 years ago. So it's like the deep cuts are really for really certifiably crazy X-Men fans such as myself, and not even things that most people are going to get the joke about. So I don't know that we have a whole lot else to talk about here. I mean, the King in Black is happening. Cable's been venomized because that's novel. Except, do you think that her protocol V here is to take the 5 or 5V, 5V, X10, 5V? Is it to take the 5 off of the Earth because humanity is being threatened on the Earth? And is that kind of the reason we need a mutant space program? Thinking about Moira's experiences in Life 9 with Apocalypse, where they had to be on the asteroid. Like, is that the whole reason SWORD even needs to exist?
I don't know if it's... Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I mean, like, okay, the 5 is their regeneration engine, right? There is 2 parts to Krakoa's success. One is Krakoa itself, because Krakoa is needed to produce the flowers, right? So the first thing is, if you are going to protect your economy and your leverage against, the other nations of the world, you need to have a backup plan, and you need to have redundancies for these important things. So Krakoa, I don't know if they have any plans. If Krakoa dies, can the 5 regenerate him? Do they have a DNA, safe somewhere? Can Krakoa be, can Krakoa live elsewhere other than Earth? Like, I mean, he's a mutant. We see in Life 9 that he can, or even last issue of X-Men, he could walk like an ant. So, what is there something planned for him? And then the regeneration is for the survivor of like all mutants. So why are there no backup plans for protecting the 5, or for having some redundancy for the 5? Like, So I mean, that's the part which I thought, like, protocol V or protocol 5 has to happen way before Brand thought of it. Like, why should it be Brand who thought of this? The Quiet Counselor just sits there and assume that the 5 will always survive. That makes
But
no
it's
sense
almost
to
like
me.
the 5 each needs an understudy that are kind of like the designated survivor, along with a psychic who can fuel
intern.
everything, that are kind of just, we get what I thought was a really interesting moment here that we haven't had elsewhere, of the 5 are like, we could do something. And we have Proteus with his actual accent, which nobody else ever remembers to write except for Leah Williams, being like, hey, we should actually be able to do something about this. But they're like, we can't leave the room. We're the 5. But then it also makes you think like, well, there should be like another 5 who also can't leave their room in case any of the 5 do leave their room. And like, because the whole democracy and the whole culture, resides on this. And it really makes you think, in light of things happening in the real world, about line of secession.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so I think like that's one of the reasons I'm also getting a little bit tired of this whole rocks that we're in now, because I feel like Docs was really fine, really great, because it was a lot of competency and we are setting things up. But now that we are in Reign of X, it's like there's all this fault and it's not being addressed. And I was like shocked that 5 of them are just hanging around when there's no sun. The island is like under snow and there's literally no protection. It's this nobodies from SWORD that came in.
Where is
once
the captain?
Again? Where is Cyclops?
Where are the captains? Where are the captains? Right?
Exactly.
Because they are not defending the island. It was Magneto's, Sunfire, and Banshee, right? So.
Well,
And Banshee's going to die because that's what Banshee does. So you're already one man down.
Cyclops got venomized in the main book, and I hate that I know that.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
That's why.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Because I thought he was running for election. I thought he was running for election somewhere.
And this is the problem of having X-Men books tie in with your event books. I'm not against it, and I don't want the X-Men to be separate, but at the point that you already have 10 plus books that people are following every month that are the X-Men, you kind of feel like you should be able to find the answer in those 10 books. There's no other line of books like that at any other publisher. Even the Bat books aren't as wide or as connected as these. And it's like the fact that I need Harry to tell me that Cyclops got venomized in the main book, and there's not even a footnote about it here. It's just frustrating. Like, it makes me long for the days that the X-Men were really separate and Marvel didn't care about them, because at least you could enjoy the X-Men books.
Yeah. I'm pretty shocked this ties in as much as it does. I feel like that's just such a not good move. You could, I don't know. You're saying, Fariha?
No, I was just saying that, we have already, X-Men does not, or mutant does not make sense in the world of Marvel anyway. Because the fact that Captain America doesn't do enough for mutant rights really shows poorly on him. So they should already be separated. So it was really good when the whole Hawks box came, nobody was touching them. And now it's like fair game, everyone, and we are here. There's no footnote anywhere, and you're not supposed to even know.
I mean, I hope it is because of a publishing schedule, because we are going to get King in Black Marauders title.
What?
So
yeah.
One issue.
Get ready.
Just
one. You'll make it.
That's one.
And it's an extra one. I don't think it's it the main?
It's an extra.
Yeah, it's like an actual one shot. It's not part of the.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna read.
Fine.
All right, folks. Look, I don't think we have a whole lot else to elucidate you about when it comes to this issue of Sword number 2, unless anybody has a parting shot.
There's one thing that I thought was quite fun. I mean, not really important, is that Brand was like, well, what did she say? She said full spectrum report, and then they follow the rainbow colors.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
I also laughed at the think tank.
The think tank moment is good. Because he's reading a tank magazine on the toilet, which is pretty good. There's a lot of solid moments in this. It looks beautiful. They are setting up the characters a bit. Unlike Fariha, I am getting invested in these people I don't know much about, but it's all in service of like the most shallow, silly event, and that's just such an odd mix with this like ambitious book from what we got from the first issue. Like, literally the action of this book is they kill one space dragon, and then later on they fight another space dragon, and that's it.
And you're dropped in the middle of the other fight.
Yeah, that's
and then and I want to say though, I love Ewing. I met him. He's the nicest guy.
Lovely man.
I'm obsessed with his Loki. I love his Immortal Hulk. Love it. What Ultimates that he wrote, all his Secret Avengers, all of them. Not a fan. Okay.
But also Valerio Schiti doing a wonderful job here. I think, he's an unsung hero in this book. He had to draw a lot of characters, a lot of weird action, a space dragon attacking, a space ship, the world with this sunless world. He had to do the Krakoan trees. He had to do all of these characters. And just like without any kind of issue, no gawky moment, nothing that feels out of place. But it's just hard to kind of champion it. To Freya's point, there's no high point in the book. There's a couple of good jokes, and then there's 2 dragons, and that's it. So there's no moment that really feels like he got to like own that moment.
And also I think the other thing also, I think Ewing just dropped that Brand is creating her own secret language.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was obtuse. Like, it was just like this big monologue, but these are a dime a dozen, and we can all have downloaded languages, but I don't care. I've got the old thing, so I'm gonna have, it just was like a lot of
it was a lot. I mean but I think he did the best that he could given the situation that he's being thrown in. I mean, if I'm Ewing, I definitely did not raise my hand and say, "Hey, issue 2, put me in a tie-in." No, I think this is being forced on him. So I feel like given the good work that he has done in other issues or other titles, I want to give him a pass for this because I don't think it's his fault. 100%.
Well, you got like 2 more issues of this, so let's see if you keep that goodwill going.
I know.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us for this discussion of Sword number 2. If you're looking for the other issue of X out this week, keep an eye on the channel. We also discussed Marauders number 17. We'd love it if you would subscribe and come back to our friendly discussion of X-Men, whether it goes negative or goes positive. The thing we would like to do is discuss it together, because it's no fun, whether you love a book or hate a book, to kind of just stew on it on your own. It's fun to share that with other people, because why, Fariha?
X-Men is better when it's read together.
That's right. And so we're really happy to be reading it with you. And for myself, Fariha, Tyler, and Harry, thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you again on This Week in X.
Bye.
Bye.